Officer was assigned to a new unit of soldiers and went to the base to inspect, kind of do a once around, and he noticed two of the soldiers were guarding what appeared to be an empty bench. And he walked up to them and said, "Why are you guarding this empty bench?" And they said, "Sir, we just do what we're told. The last commanding officer told us to do this." He said, "Okay." So when he got back to his office, he called the previous commanding officer and said, "Why do you have two guards stationed around an empty bench?" He said, "Well, I was only there for a short period of time, but the officer in front of me already had issued the order, so I just kept the order going." So he finally got a hold of the previous officer and went back 2 or 3 times back, and everybody gave him the same story. It was the guy before me. Until he finally got a hold of a retired 4-star general who apparently had issued the original order to guard the bench. And he said, "General, I noticed that there was an empty bench being guarded by 2 soldiers, and I understand you were the person who originally gave this order. Is that true?" He said, "Yes, it's true." He said, "They're still guarding the bench?" And he said, "Yes, sir, they are." And he said, "Is the paint not dry?" There's a reason I tell this story. I did some research on it. And when the Pilgrims came over and they had a pink candle, if you were to ask them, why do you use a pink candle? They said, because that's the way they did it in England. And if you went back to England, they would say, well, that's the way they did it in Europe. And you went back to Europe, they'd say, well, that's the way they did it in Germany. Nobody knows why this candle is pink. The only thing that I know for sure is that on this day, the day that we light the pink candle, the Catholic Church, their priests wear pink garments. Whether that has something to do with it, I don't know. They only do that, I think, 2 times a year, and this is one of the 2 times they do it. But that's why I told the story, because it's a tradition that we don't know what started it. We don't have a 4-star general to tell us. But we do know this. The candle of joy is an important candle because joy means so much. It means so much more than happiness. Joy, we don't place our joy based on our circumstances. We base it on something that's inside us, something that God puts inside us, which is a relationship with Him. Joy is much deeper than happiness. The psalmist wrote, "Restore to me the joy of my salvation," because joy is based on something very significant, which is our relationship with Christ and our salvation. Now, the pink candle is also called the shepherd's candle. You may have heard that. And I believe the reason it is called the shepherd's candle is because the shepherds were filled with such joy when they received the announcement that Christ had been born into the world. They, of all people, were chosen to receive this precious announcement. And they were filled with such joy that they went running to Bethlehem and to see this Christ child. So we have the joy of the Advent, the announcement of Christ coming to the earth. We also have the joy of the others who were let in on this wonderful secret. We know of Simeon, the old priest who had been given a special message from God that he would stay alive until the Messiah was born. And he was told, there he is, Simeon. And he was filled with joy as he prophesied over the child, Christ child. Same with the prophetess Anna, who was an older woman who also got the joy of knowing that this Christ child is there. So that's the reason we had the joy candle is part of the Advent season. And also it applies to us because we're looking forward to the second Advent, the second time that Christ comes. And it is that joy that we have in knowing He's coming again. And we have joy in knowing that we are saved and that we have a relationship with Jesus Christ. It's the kind of thing that can last when our car gets in an accident. And when we lose our job or we lose a loved one, we still have that joy in our heart, knowing that we have a relationship with Jesus Christ, we have salvation, and we're going to spend an eternity with Him in paradise. So that's the reason we have the joy candle. So focus on the joy that you have this Christmas season, that it's not just about gifts, it's not just about fancy dinners and families getting back together. It's about knowing the quiet, deep joy that we have in our relationship with Jesus Christ. So that's my prayer for you, that you will have a happy Christmas, but more importantly, you'll have a joyful Christmas this year. Amen?